Hi, it's Lisa here from Active Domestics, and today I'm going to change things up a little bit. Apart from living with 6 adult males or adult size males, I've also had over 20 years experience in the cleaning industry. Active Domestics is a small cleaning agency that started in 2005 and has only just recently ended in 2021. Prior to that, it operated under a different business name, and prior to that, I was an independent cleaner who worked in people's houses. So I have had over 2 decades of experience in the cleaning industry, and today I want to share with you some of the top 5 lessons that I've learned along that time that I wish someone had have taught me over 20 years ago. In summary, lesson number 1 is not all jobs are the same. Lesson number 2 is not all clients are the same. Lesson number 3 involves the many different ways that you need to learn to value yourself as a cleaner. Lesson number 4 involves the money side of things. Now, unless you're charging appropriately, it's not actually worth your while. And lesson number 5 involves good communication. So it's a long one, I'm sorry, but I really hope it's useful to you. Lesson number 1, not all jobs are the same. And they have different requirements, and you need to price them differently because they're going to take different things from you. For example, I started my business with mostly doing domestic cleans. And they're actually quite hard cleans as far as cleaning goes, because most domestic clients actually expect quite a lot within a small time frame, and they only want to part with a really small amount of money usually. So you've got to take things like that into consideration. Business jobs, you might need to clean in the evenings or on weekends outside of office hours. You might also need greater levels of insurance, or in the era of COVID-19, of course, you're going to have to use a lot more disinfectants. You may pick up some real estate jobs, and they may require you to come and collect the key prior, or wait for a real estate person to come and meet you at the end of the job to inspect your work. All these things take away your time, and you might not necessarily get paid for all of that time. So please think about things like that. In bond cleans, you often need to be able to gather together a couple of cleaners, because usually one person can't do the bond clean by themselves unless it was quite a small house, but oftentimes they're really large houses, and you oftentimes need 2 to 4 people to get that job done in one day, because a bond clean in a large house might need a minimum of 20 hours of cleaning time, across that 2 or 4 people. And oftentimes you only get a short notice of when that job is due, so you kind of need to be on standby. And that is, I stopped doing bond cleaning early on because we got busier with scheduled work, regular scheduled work, fortnightly or weekly, and so it didn't make sense to just be on call waiting for those bond jobs to come in. Though there seemed to be a lot of work like that out there, it wasn't for me. So just like the jobs, not all clients are created equally either. You don't have to stay with a client just because they hired you initially. If you're not enjoying cleaning for them, let them go. If you find yourself having to chase payments, or you just don't feel valued, or something doesn't feel right to you, move on and replace that client with another client, possibly a better client. In my experience, some clients don't give any thought to the needs of the cleaner, insofar as they don't even want to pay them, they don't even want to see their cleaner get a minimum wage, because all that concerns some of the clients is just to pay as minimal as possible. And that's not right. You work hard for that, and you need to be paid accordingly. Some clients don't care about your safety, in the sense that they might expect. I've had clients that have houses similar to the size of mine, where they want like 3 bathrooms, 2 levels, 5 bedrooms, kitchen, beds made, all in 2 hours, and then complain when things weren't done thoroughly enough. Now that is ridiculous. A cleaner can't be working flat out so fast that they're going to risk injuring themselves or risk dropping something or slipping, because you've got to remember that cleaners always hurt themselves, most commonly through slips, trips and falls, and oftentimes that's from rushing. So, you know, why you don't want clients like that. You want clients that expect reasonable amounts of work from you within the reasonable time frame of which they can afford to pay you in an appropriate way, so that we can pay our bills too. So, you know, there's plenty of really good clients out there, but there's also plenty of clients that you don't want. So move on. Clear that space so that another good job can come in. It's also the case that you don't want to create too much time in between jobs where you have to travel like from one area to another. It's best to try and group those jobs where you're in a similar area on a similar day. And let's just say you have a client that always wants a Friday, but it's better for you to clean for them on a Thursday. Well, you need to just let them know that, you know what, I'm sorry, I can no longer clean for you on a Friday, but I can clean for you on this other day. Are you okay if we make that change? Now, if they're not okay, don't worry about it. Move on. You'll fill that space. You've got to be making decisions about what's most efficient for you, because as a contract cleaner, you are usually only getting paid for the time that you're working. I've seen some clients that even after months of having a cleaner clean for them, not even have bothered to have learnt their cleaner's name. I just think that's rude. I'm sorry, that doesn't cut it with me. Lesson number 3, value yourself. And you can do that in multiple ways. Firstly, you can do that by letting go of the jobs and clients that no longer suit you or no longer suit your schedule. You can change the clients and the jobs if it suits your schedule better. You don't need to give them big reasons for why you need to do that. You just work out what suits you best. If you find yourself chasing payments from clients, well then that's not okay either. I always used to keep very tight and strict payment terms, and if someone would go over that, I would always follow up by text and then by phone call. So you deserve to get paid. They got their house cleaned on the day that you'd arranged. You expect to get your payment when that's arranged as well. And if someone causes you too much trouble and time, it's not worth having to chase payments. Go get yourself a client that pays on a regular basis, and that's not going to be an issue. So the other way that you value yourself is by making sure you use good quality equipment. You know, not all equipment is the same either, so why not you set yourself up with the best quality equipment that you can afford, and as you replace things, try and get really good quality cleaning equipment like mops and vacuum cleaners is going to save you time and money again and again. So, you know, you buy crappy products or a crappy vacuum cleaner, the job's going to take longer, you're going to be bending more, you're just not going to, it's not going to be good for you. So you need to value yourself in that way as well. Valuing yourself also means that you don't do additional extras. That you, if you notice something else that needs done in that time, then you need to talk to the client about that and ask them if they would be willing to provide an extra hour of paid cleaning time so that you can attend to whatever job that you notice needs doing. Valuing yourself also means being able to clean with minimal amount of chemicals and toxic exposure. Remember, your skin is your largest organ, so you're absorbing the chemicals that you're using, and you're breathing things like that in. Of course, you want to make sure that you have good ventilation when you're working, and you want to make sure you use the proper protective equipment, and by that I mean safety glasses when necessary, if you don't wear glasses like me, and things like wearing gloves, making sure you read the labels correctly and really know what you're working with. Valuing yourself also is learning to clean in appropriate ways. And by that I mean you should never, ever be cleaning other people's showers unless you've got shoes on. Why would you want to stand in someone's filthy shower in order to clean it? That's not valuing yourself. And as a professional cleaner, you need to be able to do these types of jobs whilst you're also maintaining your own safety and your own hygiene. Got plenty of videos for that if you'd like to watch them. Valuing yourself also means putting your prices up. Now, most of the clients that you are cleaning for are probably getting an additional 1 or 2% increase in their wages on an annual basis. So why shouldn't you get that too? After all, I'm sure your insurance is going up, and I'm sure that your products are going up, and all the other things that you need to pay for in order to operate this cleaning business. Because no matter how big or small you are, if it's just you or if you're managing a small team of cleaners, it's your cleaning business. So you need to also show yourself value by understanding, by operating as a proper business. You need to know what your income is. Well, that's easy. Add the income from all the jobs together. But you need to also know what your expenses are and the expenses for different types of jobs, so that you can ensure that you're pricing your jobs correctly, and never be afraid to, approach a client and let them know that you can no longer do that job for that price. It needs to go up. And you can give them some reasons for why that is, but if they're not happy, move on. It's okay. So lesson number 4 is the charging appropriately. And I can't say this often enough. I mean, the half of the problem with the cleaning industry is because there's way too many people still out there that are charging really low amounts, or getting paid really low amounts, and it's just not on. It's got to change. I know in Australia the government has been talking about increasing protections for cleaners, but I can tell you I haven't actually seen any particular changes come out of that over the years, because we're just a really vulnerable industry where people don't want to pay us like they pay other trades, yet we have a lot of the same expenses that other trades do. By charging appropriately, it also includes having the right insurances. Insurances that don't just protect the client like you would like a third-party liability insurance, but insurances that protect you, your income, your health. What happens if you do slip or fall and can't work for a month? So you need to have those insurances, and they need to be built into your price. And the right client for you is going to be okay for that, because they will respect the fact that you need to protect yourself as well. So in the charging appropriately, like I mentioned earlier, it also really is important you don't have people owing you money for cleans that have long gone by. That's not okay. They get the clean, they pay for it. It's your business. You can do it however you want. And if they're not happy, they'll move on and find someone else. Also, you've got to charge appropriately based on your experience. Now, when you first start out, you might be charging a lower amount because you're less experienced, or you're still sort of learning things along the way. That's okay, that's understandable. But as your skills increase and you know that you give a lot of value within your cleaning times, then you need to up your price. Because someone might get like pay $50 for a 2-hour clean, $25 an hour. That's quite cheap actually, but a lot of people who aren't declaring their income to the tax department might still be charging that rate in Australia these days. But they might spend an hour cleaning one bathroom, or they might just really not get a lot done. There's a lot of different cleaners out there, and some of them are way under par. If you know you're way over par, then charge accordingly. That's something that I wish I had have done a lot more over the years. Actually, that brings me to my other big mistake that I learned, was not paying myself superannuation. So we call it Superannuation Australia, which is our retirement fund basically. I don't have hardly any money in superannuation because I didn't get the right advice about setting that up, and quite frankly, there were many years where I just needed to make every little bit of money went back into the family. So, you know, I couldn't quite think about tomorrow. I needed every bit of money for today. But protect yourself, because the years roll around really quickly, and I think, like me, you might regret it if you don't. So the last fifth important lesson that I want to share with you today is communication. Good communication solves all sorts of problems, and actually good communication can prevent a lot of problems. For example, if you have a client that is expecting way too much within their cleaning time, you need to communicate that to them, that unfortunately you can't get everything done. What are the things that are your highest priority jobs, and I'll stick to those, and if I have time I'll get to some of the other jobs. Alternatively, if you've in a cleaning job found that you spent a little bit more time in a particular area, like for example, you might have decided to spend a little bit more time in the lounge room and cleaning the skirting boards and wiping marks from walls and things like that. Well, you will need to communicate that to your client, leave them a note or send them a text or an email after the job so that they know. Don't just think they're going to notice these things. I can tell you what they'll notice is that you rushed while you were cleaning the bathrooms. That's not the thing that you want them to notice. So communicate what you actually did. They might then say, well, actually, you know what? Don't worry about doing those sorts of extras. That's not what I need. I just want you to spend all that time in the bathrooms. Sometimes clients don't always know what they want to begin with, and you need to check in with them every couple of months. Don't be annoying. Don't make it every couple of weeks. Every couple of months is fine. Check in with them and check to see whether their needs have changed, or whether you are meeting their needs, or if there's something that you need to do differently. You just need to ask the right questions, and you know, you can go from there. Communicating clearly is also like communicating in advance that, you know what, as of January next year, my rates are going to be going up by $1 or $2. It's far better to put your rates up a little bit on a regular basis than try and put them up a large amount every few years when you finally make yourself get round to that. So anyway, sorry this has been long, but I really wanted to share a lot of these things with you before I forget them, because obviously as time goes by I will forget some of the things that I have learned over the time. But you know, cleaning is good. It's a good business. It can be a really convenient business, particularly for a lot of women working around children, and even a lot of men these days for sure. But think about those lessons. I really hope that helps you, and have fun going forward. Thank you very much for watching.